Hi, it's Jana, the Queen of Eliminating Chaos, and today we're talking about being vulnerable and asking for help. So let's start off with, are you vigilant with how you are spending your time? I feel like I've always been conscious of how I spend my time. I try to be intentional, set priorities, focus on strategic work versus tactical, blah, 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 all of the things that we've all heard. But let me tell you about a speaker a couple of years ago that triggered me to rethink what I was doing. So I was at a women's leadership breakfast, and the speaker there was a daughter and a sister and a wife and a mother and a CEO of a $35 billion company. She had the same 168 hours a week that I had. The difference was she thought about her time differently. She thought about her time as a resource, and she was really intentional about how she spent her time. Now, I've told this to a lot of people, and they look at you like, oh, she must not have any fun, she's really structured, she's really rigid, but that isn't what she's saying. She's intentional about how she spends her time on her personal needs, her professional needs. She's not winging it. She is intentional with how she's spending her time. She's building in time to have fun. She's building in time to have a lazy weekend. She's building those things in because those are important to her. So it's important to think about how you're spending time and being intentional with it. And you may ask now, like, how does this tie back to the theme, being vulnerable and asking for help? So recently, I was working on something that I had on my priority list, right? Working my list. I started 6 weeks in advance and gave myself plenty of time to be proactive, but I just never got it done. The deadline came, and my daughter calls me in the evening, and I begrudgingly tell her I'm working, and she's like, well, what are you doing? And it's like, well, I'm working on getting this ready. And she's like, well, I know how to do that. I was like, what? Why didn't you tell me this? She's like, you never asked me. The moral of that story is it spent her an hour and a half and cost me $40 to do something that was the monkey on my back for 6 weeks. So the moral of these stories, and why I'm telling you this, is it's really important that you're vigilant with how you spend your time and you think about your time as a resource, just like you think about your money and you have a budget. You're spending your time strategically, but also be vulnerable and ask for help. It's okay to pay somebody to do something for you.